There you go. Nearly was asleep. That was good, wasn't it? So welcome back to the channel. 7 people watching already. Wow. Okay, this is going to be a fun show. Remember, if you are watching, please make sure you interact with us, ask any questions you want to do as we go along. That's what we're here for. We'll be here for about an hour or so. I'll explain all the other bits and pieces as we go. Today is mainly about it's called sea trials. It's about how far have you got, James? You know, all this waffle. Have you actually done anything? Well, I'm not gonna tell you right now. I'll tell you in a minute. But I've got some amazing guests who have volunteered to be with me. Silly people. I've got a couple of questions for them about the journey, etc. I've got a little surprise as well that I want to talk about, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. So our first guest is someone new to the Roundtable is the wonderful Mr. Stuff himself. All right, Gary?
Hello, mate. How you doing, Mr. Stuff?
Mr. Stuff. I think that's appropriate for you.
That's on my passport now. Yeah, I'm all right, mate. How you doing? You well?
I'm very well. I'm very grateful to be allowed into the West Wing. You know,
That's
obviously, you know, it's a privilege. You are obviously completely up to speed about what we've been doing, what crazy ideas I've come up with. So we're going to have a chat about that. Let's get our other guest in as well. We've got the wonderful Martin. Hi, Martin. How you doing?
Hi. Good, thank you.
Martin is fresh back from his successes in Europe with his models, etc. I'm not going to make a big thing of it because I know he's quite shy and reserved and easy hell. He's been banging on about it for the last 20 minutes going, yes, James, I might have won a model. No, I'm joking. Congratulations, man. I'm so chuffed for you. You well deserve it. You're, as I said to you, if you remember, going all the way back when we started this chat, you said, I'm not quite sure why you're inviting me. Well, that's the proof of the pudding, those medals that you've won over in Europe. It is your ability to inspire and produce such an amazing work. So congratulations.
Thank you. It's kind of you.
That's right.
Well done.
You didn't think I was going to say that, did you? But I'm horrible like that. Right. So in the chat, we have Dave Skelly, he's there, saying good afternoon from a windy and rainy Brompton, Cambridgeshire. Indeed. Hello. Like I said, if you are watching, please just make sure you drop us a message. If you've got a question, just pop a question mark in front of it so I can see it. And that's where we're at. So let's get cracking, shall we? So obviously, just to refresh everybody's memory that have been watching, those that might have just joined us in this first time or something. So the project that I'm undertaking is a 1/35th diorama of the Akaki aircraft carrier from 1940s. And it comes from a kit which is just above me in this corner here somewhere, which is the Border Models 1/35th flight deck, island, and aircraft. However, some stupid idiot decided to add just a little bit. So I'm going to put a hangar deck underneath the flight deck, and then a hangar deck underneath the hangar deck. So yeah, a lot's going on. But the idea of this was to depict not only the historical side of bits and pieces, but also my journey through a heart attack and bypass and all this sort of stuff. So that's where we're at. We are here today to talk about the progress. So I want to have a quick show of where I'm at with bits and pieces. And then I've got a couple of questions that we're going to ask everybody, and we're going to have a chat about how we, at this stage of a build, might modify things or what problems we might have come up against, etc., etc. So let me just show you where we're at. Press that button there. So at the moment, as you can see, just here, this is the island. Going to be interesting to carry this, but we'll try. If this falls down, I won't swear, I promise. So this is the island. This is not glued together, as you can see. All right. And the reason I've done it this way is just want to show you the size of it, really.
It's quite big.
And bear in mind that is, I believe, yes, that's as high as it gets, apart from the aerials, etc. on top. But yeah, that's the height of the island. Okay, so that is effectively 5 decks. Okay. And then what I've also done is just here, this is one of the bases for the hangar deck. And I've created this lovely framework for the roof of the hangar deck.
Oh, good God.
Which I'll have to do twice. So that's that, to give you a rough idea. And then the idea being is the 3 layers will be able to be detached from each other for transportation, because it is planned to go to at least 2 shows, but maybe no more, because it will be quite an undertaking. So over there is the other. I can show you. It just means I've got to get up. Preparation is the name of the game, don't you know?
There's nothing like it.
Nothing like, and this is nothing like
nothing like it.
Right, so that is the kit plastic here on top, which is the flight deck. And then what I've done is I've put plastic on the back and some magnets.
Ah, nice.
Ooh. Why magnets, James? Because I'm an idiot. What I just showed you is the middle deck, and then this is the base, of which you can see I've mimicked the flight deck, put in all the holes for the
tie downs.
Thank you. And this area here at the top, which is plain, will be the quarters and all the rooms and bits and pieces. And what I've got to do then is I've got to clearly scratch build all of the internal part of those 2 layers. So actually the easy bit is what I've been doing here. Right, I'm just going to go to the over the desk camera, because that on there I believe is what I want. There we go. Right, so I'm bringing into play some of these. So as you can see, this is the bridge section. Okay, so we're going to take this bit off. Actually, I think we can move out a little bit, couldn't we? Give myself a little bit more. There we go. There we go. That's for later. So yeah, so this is the bridge section. It's not done as per the instructions of the model, but as you can see here, if I hold it up a little bit, you can see all the white dots here. Now, these white dots on the grey plastic are the rivets that were on the kit. The white dots that are on the grey plastic up here weren't. So I've had to put all these rivets on. And then, because I'm an idiot, inside I've now got all rivets down the side too. And obviously, wherever you can see white plastic is where I've added stuff. Okay, so you can see internally, the floor is now ready for planking. All the planking's been marked out, etc. So when it's painted, it'll all look very nice. But on these walls, I've got junction boxes and wiring and compasses and dials and all sorts of things that have got to go on the walls. So that's all got to be added in. So that's why I'm at this stage on this. So that's that bit. Then this is the top of the bridge, obviously. So this is deck above. The kit comes with some LEDs, but it's meant to be hidden by a piece of plastic that goes over the ceiling. And what I discovered was that if I added that piece in, I couldn't stand a figure up inside the bridge without taking their feet off to their shins, basically. So bit of modification. I've added in the lighting, which is under this little bit of masking tape. I've put the beamwork in, which would be how it was. And then on the back here, this is a kit part, is a map drawer, set of drawers that will sit there. That was literally plain plastic, so I've had to cut the drawers in, had the handles and all that sort of stuff. That will have a map on top of it, and then where you can see just maybe just there's a hole. That will have a light that comes out and hangs over the map reading table. And again, obviously on the back here, this will all have loads of dials and all sorts of gumph, which is not in the kit. So a bit fun. And as you can see, I've opened up a door as well on this particular level, so you'll be able to peer in and see what's going on. That's that bit. And then this is the okay, so if I show you this very quickly. So we talked about riveting. Oh god. So this is the amount of riveting that I'm going to have to do on the model generally. None of this rivets on this particular piece were on the model, so all of this is additional. So I've added in weld lines, added the rivets. I've also added on the top here a domed bit of plastic, so it's now a rail instead of a sharp edged rail, whatever. But obviously all of this has got to be repeated. Now, as you can see, just about in there, maybe you can see there's a little bit of stuff going on because I've made an interior section because I opened the door yet, so look in there and see something, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I've done that, but unfortunately that means then when we get to the next bit, this bit, obviously I haven't done the rivets yet, but these are all the weld lines done, and this is going to need an internal too, right? Because that's the only right sensible thing to do. Idiot. So I have done that. So this is the start of the internals. This is Mark II because I wasn't very happy with it, basically. The stairs there, this is Mark II stairs. I don't know if I've got the, I can't remember what I did with the first option, but oh, there it is. 1 second, I'll show you. So the first option that I made was this, using an I-beam and some L-shaped beam to make the step work, and it just looked too chunky and awful. And then funny enough, I was looking through the parts in the kit and then suddenly discovered that they actually got ladders in it. So all I needed to do was copy that. So that went in the bin. Well, it didn't, it went over there. And I've now made this. I've actually got 6 tucked under there. I've had to make a, well, I didn't have to, but I have. I've made a jig to make them because I'm going to be making a lot of them. So it seems sensible to make a jig. And then clearly, obviously, in this particular one, I fitted it, happy with it. And we've got some wiring in here that you can see just about. And the reason I got wire in there is because I've got some lights to put in it. And this is one of the things in which I wanted to talk about today, really, was, you know, how do you stop yourself from being completely insane? But anyway, so this is a wall light, which will go on there, something like that. Hopefully you can see that. But what I've got to do is I've got to obviously paint the bits and pieces on it because it's a metal encased glass wall light. So there'll be metal going across it, etc., etc. And then what I'm going to do is drill into the back of it and stick a fiber optic in it, which will mean it will light up very dimly, but it will light up. So yeah, so that's sort of where we're at the moment. Let me just change this. So as you can see, have I got ahead a lot? No, not really. There's so much more to do and to know where to go at this point. It's there's an awful lot to do, but very, very happy with the progress so far. Obviously this internal goes inside this. Yeah, I don't know why I went down that road, but I did. God help me. And then, oh, I didn't show you actually one last thing. No, I'll show you that later. That's fine. So yeah, so there you go. That's where we're at right now. What are your thoughts, guys, so far?
To me, with dioramas, the thing that I really love is all the small details, all the little things that you only see if you take your time and really study it. And it's the stuff that, you know, you can gloss over and miss if you just take a little look at it. But, you know, like all the switches and dials and stuff that you're going to put on the walls, maps on the map tables, the fact that there's a hallway and you can actually see down it and see features and stuff, that's the stuff I love. And that really shows real attention to detail. I think that's really impressive what you've done so far, and the amount of rivets. Good grief!
Yeah, if RP models are RP tools are watching, can I just say that if you want to sponsor this in any way, shape, or form, because I have your rivet maker and I have literally worn out the end of this thing, and I don't know how to make it sharp again. So if you want to help, I have got somewhere in the region of 65,000 rivets in which I'm going to have to make. So yes, please reach out to me. Or if you're watching this and you've got a spare moment in your life that you want to sit and make rivets and you've got one of these tools, drop me a line and I'll send you a bag to fill up. Gary, what are your thoughts?
I just wonder, when you started planning this, did you start off with that level of detail in mind, or did it sort of start creeping up when you started putting bits in? You thought, oh, I know, I can do that as well. Or, oh, I know, why don't I do that? Or was it right from the start, I'm going to go to this level of detail and do all of this interior building and all the rest of it?
Well, I think, in all honesty to you, Gary, you know me well enough to know that the word planning wasn't really ever used to start with. Yes and no. I get the bug a little bit, like Martin was saying. They're the things that make me sing. You know, I don't have to put rivets on a kit that's already been made. You know, I really don't. I don't have to put weld lines on it, really. But in my research, I've seen some other people and their representations, and it looks a lot better, I think. Whether I've got the right size or not, I don't know. It's going to be literally a rivet counter's dream, because they're going to sit there and pull it apart, which is fine, which is great. I don't mind that. The lighting, sort of, yes. But it's a really good point about you saying it was that level of detail. What I wanted is, as I said, and I have said in 7 other episodes, minimal lighting, minimal electrics, don't want to get involved in any of that. Now I'm talking about fiber optics, channeling it through 3 different levels with a power base in the base of the model, and I've got no idea what I'm doing. I literally have no idea. And my only thought process is that the bit that I had planned was that the detail of passageways and stuff. Yeah, I wanted to do that because it gives it just a little bit of interest. But the island is minimal what you can do underneath that as the island carries down through the decks. You've got your briefing rooms for the pilots, and you've got I don't know, missteps or also you got all sorts of things in which you can throw in there, because I don't actually know what was meant to be there, so I can use my imagination. But some of that will have to be lit so that you can look down a passageway to see it, or like for example, one of the things I plan on doing is the pilot's briefing room, where they're all having a quick chat about what the next attack's going to be and all that sort of stuff. So you'll be able to peer into that and you'll be able to see that. But also another thing I wanted to add in was an area where, because obviously well known for the Japanese was that they would make a prayer before they went on the missions and when they came back from missions and stuff. So there'll be an element of that too. So to show a bit of respect to the pilots and many that didn't come back. So yes, level of detail was sort of factored, but not factored. And certainly the light that I just shown you, I never thought I'd be doing wall lights. I happened to find this because what it is my 3D print is broken. So I've asked some other people to do some 3D printing for me. And I accidentally found this when I was looking for something completely different. So the lovely sheriff of Telford has kindly agreed to do some printing for me, and Gary's got I think it's about 7 different types of industrial lamps, wall lights, junction boxes, a myriad of stuff that I've asked him to do, and literally I've got a little bit more to show you about lighting in a minute, but and the reason that came up was because I saw it and thought, oh no, I could do that. Oh, do you know what, I'm gonna need to buy him resin anyway, so why don't I buy him clear resin? Oh, that means I might be able to light it up, which is then snowballed into that. Oh, we can do fiber optics, and so yeah. No, it wasn't, is the answer. But one second, let me just go through the chat very quickly. We've got the wonderful Joe who's joined us. Good to see you, Joe. Why is it I look at the island and wonder how good it would look like a cutaway? Don't even talk about cutaways, Joe. No. However, with that said, Joe, they do this kit in a 1/72 version, but it is done by Tackham, I found out. So if you want to do a cutaway, that would be a really good option, and I'll send you the details and look forward to seeing how you do that. Throw that right back at you. Dave is saying to myself, have you found that having a project being monitored by Stream and Roundtables has given you more impetus to proceed? That's a really good question. No, not really. I'll be honest. Obviously, today is talking about the sea trials, and what have you done, James? And I've literally in the last 24 hours done something that I haven't shown you yet, because I'm like, I feel a bit of a fraud. I haven't done enough to show people, look what I've done. So yes and no. It does feel I'm under a little bit of pressure. I feel a little bit under pressure, but I haven't set myself a target of how long it's going to take. And I've also come up with a couple of challenges that I can throw out to other people that takes a little bit of pressure off me, and also increases that timeline a little bit for me. So I'm being a bit cute with it, if I'm honest. But I'll come back to that later. But yes, it's scrutiny is interesting. I haven't had a level of scrutiny. I'm normally quiet and hide stuff and then go, oh, look what I've done. And I'm not doing that. So it's a bit weird at the moment. Anyway, quickly go through this chat. Joe says, really excellent start, my friend. Thank you very much, Joe. He then also says, funny how the build tells you what direction to go. Yeah, absolutely. And that reflects back to Gary's question. Yeah, absolutely. It is such a beast that it will send me in directions in which the sane people I know will tell me don't do it. But yeah, well, that works or not, I don't know. Dave Hill is there. He says, hello from Canada. Can't tell you how much we are enjoying the series. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. And Race Dam Design said, hello, James. Hello, indeed. Yeah, so I mean, I've never done roundtables like this. I found them incredibly useful, personally, because everybody else has got a slight different take on it and a different angle. And I think that's been really, really good. So let's reflect on that statement, really. How about yourself, Martin? What effect has doing the roundtables and scrutiny of this sort of helped you with your builds and stuff?
It's made me a lot more thoughtful about what I'm doing. And in fact, since I saw you last, I don't know if you know RT Diorama, they do giant buildings. I was going to buy 3 or 4 of their little things when I was in Europe. I didn't. I ended up getting this giant church that's, 1.5 feet tall. But, and I was going to ask you at some point in the future about your church diorama, because this thing has got a front and a back. So like your Akagi, there's multiple different areas of this thing. And the more I think about them, the more detail is going in them. And I'm trying to copy what you're doing and doing in, rather looking at a whole mammoth project, but doing it in like bite-sized pieces and treat every section as a complete build and model on its own. And I think to do it. And that's doing this has helped me think about stuff that I might not have thought about. So for me, it's been great. It's something I didn't expect. And then also some of the guests that you've had on, the stuff that they've discussed, again, it's stuff that I'm relatively new to this. It's stuff that I know nothing about, hadn't thought about, and is actually quite important. So yeah, it's been super helpful to me. So thank you.
Cool. No, it's good. It's good. And I know the church that or that kit that you've bought. And I did think to myself, jealous was my first thought. And then no, I'm not actually. Serves him right. How about yourself, Gary? Reflecting on what we're talking about here, on your builds, etc. How do you reflect that back?
Oh, I've got a very different impetus in that this is my job and I need to get videos out. This is my full-time work now, and I need to get stuff done. So when we finish today, I've got to record the stuff to camera for Monday Matters, and I've got to edit that. Tomorrow I've got a schedule of shooting I need to get through, edit on Tuesday, and in the meantime spray this and prime that. So my turnaround is very, very quick. I I'm trying increasingly to sort of cover my bases with that, but then do stuff for fun as well.
Yeah.
And whether they end
really
up on a channel or not is another issue. But I've got 2 or 3 builds I want to do, and I'm already thinking, yeah, well, that's all good, but if I do that, that will look better. Or if I do this way, there's one that's I don't know if you're familiar with Thunderbirds, the 1965 series, episode 1. It had the fire flash thing trying to land. I want to recreate that, but the kit, it comes with various options, and none of which I actually want to do. And I want to make the base look like they're flying over the runway, so I've got to do all the streaking on the base that they supply. And it's all sorts of bits and pieces. I thought, well, I know I can do that. And then maybe if I drill out the windows, because the windows are just indentations, they're not glass. Maybe I can drill those out and then fill them. And then maybe I can put some plastic there and paint little, or do I paint the curtains on from the outside and then spray a bit of smoke on top to make them look like the windows? And what do I do about the wings? Because, then what about a cockpit for it? And before this is going to take me like 3 years to build the damn thing, and but I don't want to spend 3 years building it. I want to do it a bit more quickly. But then there's another project I'm doing. It's a B-17, a 1/48 scale B-17 that was given to me by a friend whose brother had it. Unfortunately, he passed away. So he said, "No, would you like this?" So I'm going to do it as a tribute to him. So I've got some nose art designed with Nick's name in it, and things like that. So that's like, I have those builds to do that probably won't ever get seen, but I think I have to do those and have to spend the time on them to do them to a level I'm happy with. At the same time as building a Jet Provost 4 and painting it in camouflage and da-da-da-da, that's the decal set. Ding, another video, off it goes.
Yeah.
It's a very different sort of dynamic in model making is what I do.
So talking about that sort of dynamic for a second, as we've got you there, as someone who represents the community's voice in a way, because you've become very established in the community as a man of knowledge, of insight in relation to your relationships with suppliers like ICM and Airfix, etc. And they've not said this to me, but this is my perception, is that they feel very, very comfortable about telling you what's coming up and how how things are moving on in their story, if you like. And that's why I would say you're a community voice. How do you think people, viewers and hobbyists, respond to seeing projects evolve midstream and including mistakes, or is including mistakes wrong? Should we not do that?
Oh God, no. That's been right from the word go. The very first videos I was making was about gardening, like 4 years ago. It was, during lockdown, I was doing how to grow your own basil, how to grow your own tomatoes. And it was all about, I make the mistakes. I'll show you the mistakes I make. Then you don't have to make the same mistakes. And if I'm doing, I've done builds where I've been putting something together and I've gone, I just realized this is completely wrong. This is in fact, I'm now going to have to ask Airfix for replacement parts because I've just messed that up completely. I've actually done that not long ago, and they were very, very, very generous in sending me 12 parts for the Jaguar, 148 scale Jaguar. I completely messed up the geometry of the undercarriage, and I could not get the wheels to sit right. And eventually, having glued it all together first, I just thought, I've put both those on the wrong sides. And so I wrote to Airfix, and I never write to Airfix as Gary's stuff either. I send it from my personal email, not my work email.
Yeah.
They don't know who I am. I don't want to be all this, don't you know I've got a YouTube channel, you really need to send me stuff. I also want to get the real experience, what other model makers get, to be able to say, do you know what, actually, yes, they may take 2 or 3 weeks, but they are pretty good at sending stuff. And I would say, look, I've stuffed this up. I'm happy to pay for a new frame, but I really need it. And they've always come, no, forget it, there it is. Don't even pay for the postage. But I'm happy to show the mistakes. In fact, celebrate them in a way, because if I make that mistake, then people who watch the video won't. And that's kind of what I'm here to do. I try and make it entertaining, but the bottom line is that here's a kit. This is how I put it together. And quite often you can do this as well. You can do that, or I decided I'm going to now add this. It might be something like Matchbox Sea Venom I did recently. I just added the little ejector seat initiator loops that you grab to fire the. They're just little bits of solder wire, because it's 1/32. You can do it easily. Bit of solder wire painted yellow and black. It makes the seats really pop out.
Yeah.
Tiny little bits of detail like that can make a massive difference. If I can do it, pretty much any modeler can do it. I'm not a great modeler. I'm quite happy to admit I could never, ever attempt what you're doing, James. A, I don't have the patience, and B, I don't have the vision to do it. I'm pretty certain I don't have the skills to do it either, but I certainly don't have the patience. But
I don't believe that statement in any way, shape, or form.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
And the reason for that is it's not necessarily aimed at you personally, but I would say that to any model maker. I mean, okay, it's a bit of an in joke. Rivets. Oh God, why are you sat there for hours doing rivets? I'm not sat there for hours. I might do a couple of hours and then go, do you know what? My hands are hurting now. I don't want to do more. I'm joking. I've done some. Okay, let's put some on, or let me do something else, because that repetitive motion is I need to move on from that. But actually, that repetitive motion is really easy to suddenly go, Jesus, I've been doing that for how long? I didn't realize that, because I'm listening to a podcast or watching a YouTube thing or whatever, and I'm just tapping away, and it's great. So no, I don't think anybody. It's really about that passion, isn't it? I think more than anything else, it's about how you connect with what you're doing, which is the passion element, which then drives you to do things that you potentially wouldn't think of doing.
The other thing I always say to people, I'm a very, very strong believer in, is not every kit's going to be made to World Championship medal winning quality, but it doesn't have to be. If you're happy to put it on a mantelpiece, mates come over and they say, who made that? Actually, I did. Oh, that's really cool. And you're happy. That's job done. You've won. That's your victory with yourself, with what you've achieved. You're happy with what you've achieved. Job's done. Don't listen to anyone else. Unless you want to get into that competition thing. You want to test your skills and your vision against other people, and then learn from each other as well, which is what I think the best part of competition is, how much you learn from other entrants as well. But But if that's not what you want to do, if you just want to make a kit and slap some paint on and put it on a mantelpiece and say, I did that, and you're proud of it, happy. I'm happy for you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's all about what goes on up there for yourself.
Absolutely.
Make yourself happy.
How about yourself, Martin? What are your thoughts in relation to how viewers and hobbyists take the live streams and the YouTube sort of element on? Is it better to do people enjoy more the night shift sort of approach where they go, this is what I'm doing, and I've found this problem, I've overcome it by doing this, etc., and it's all nicely produced together? Or do you think my name's John, I'm going to build this today, and you sit there and watch him build it, warts and all? What do you think? How do you approach that sort of research and looking at things?
So I think it depends on the individual, because some people are definitely going to choose one over the other. And for me, for example, with YouTube, I don't look at unboxing videos. I look at build videos, because what can they tell me? These pieces look nice, but to actually see someone build something and go through what issues there are, it can sometimes prevent me from building something at all. You know, I see people saying, oh, I'm struggling with this kit, or this doesn't fit that. I'm like, why did you get it? Because look at the video and go, yeah, I'm not doing that. And avoid it. It's common sense to me. But when you say, you know, the night shift type of, he does show his mistakes, which is great.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We were saying it's a fallacy for people to produce videos where everything is perfect and it goes beautifully, because when you do it, that's not going to happen. And it has a negative effect in the end. You get demoralized. Well, how come he can do it and I can't? I must be no good. So I think it's important to show warts and all. Watching a whole live stream of someone building, the only time really I do that if I'm going to build alongside with them. But I wouldn't just sit there and watch it. That's where the night shift type video, you can do that. And it's classed almost as entertainment at the same time. But a long live stream of someone doing something is not the same. The exception to me is figure painting. Because to me, that's still witchcraft. So if I can actually see what someone is doing, it makes sense in my mind. But YouTube plays such an important part in our hobby, I think. And me personally, that's what got me where I am now, is by, you know, my first build of a tank, built it, sat on a piece of paper, and I thought, well, that looks silly. It needs to have some kind of base. So I Googled how to build dioramas and then got on YouTube, and that was it. I learned so much from it, and so many different genres as well. It's super useful. And I'm glad that most people like Gary who have channels that are well represented and are prolific, show it in the proper light, warts and all. Love it.
Yeah, and I think that's why without embarrassing you too much, Gary, that's one of the reasons why I like the channel so much, is because it is, I've made this, it is, or this is coming, I've spoken to the industry are telling me this and that, and you know, it's a whole mixture of bits and pieces, along with the challenges that your viewers set and bits and pieces. So that's quite an unusual sort of setup, and I think that's very respected from the manufacturers that you have spoken to and deal with from time to time.
Well, also, years ago, many years ago, I worked in the camera industry. I worked for Nikon, I worked for Minolta, and dealing with magazines and things like that. And you get a working relationship, and you can get to trust people. And that's how I try and do it. Like if I go to see Dale at Airfix, or I see him at Telford, I make it quite clear to him, if I've got a camera running, or I've said this is on the record, it's on the record. Anything else is off the record, and I will not repeat it anywhere. Yeah, it might be good background. He might give me a little bit of something that's background that helps me understand another decision they've made. I don't need to divulge that. I can just then say with certainty for myself and authority from myself to say that this was done for the right reasons.
Yeah,
I don't have to share what those reasons are, but it's helped me understand. I hope that's how I work with them, because I'd like that to be good. But then also, I hope that they understand if I say something back to them, then it's meant honestly. It's not, this is one of the best. The Avro Anson, the 148 Avro Anson, is one of the best kits I've ever made for ease of construction, the detail, the achievable detail is phenomenal. And I'm happy to say it's one of the best kits I've ever made. Other kits they've made, I'm quite happy to say, mate, that stinks. That is really not a good. But this is why I don't like it.
Yeah.
And then they'll listen to that. The ICM are the same quite often. Bless their hearts. I mean, they're brilliant people. But I'll send Valeria a note and say, I've been making this. You have to put this decal over the nose, but there's an aerial that sticks out and it makes it very difficult. You have to cut a hole in the decals, put it there. She always comes back with, yes, you must understand that ICM kits are not made for beginners. However, I've taken this to the production team and they'll probably make that a separate part in the future. So it's become a little bit of a joke between us. Whenever I say anything, it's, yes, but it's not meant for beginners. However, you build up a relationship like that and it works for everyone. But then you can also share that with your viewers. You say, ICM is doing this, this is why they're doing it. It's things like that level of information. It helps people understand the kits they're going to make, hopefully, things like that, or the choices they can make.
Definitely. So this next question is to both of you in a second, but I'm just going to quickly go through the chat because I've missed a couple of bits. I've highlighted but not spoken about it. Jim's from Chicago there. Hi, Jim, my little twin.
Jim.
How you doing, buddy? Ramston Design is asking what a tool that you use that is not normal thing you use in a hobby store. That's a great question, and I'm going to leave that for a second. I'm going to put a nice little star on that because I'm going to come back to that a little bit later on, if you don't mind. But I have seen it, and I will address that in a little bit. And then we have this last comment, and then I know I'm up to date. In fact, he's gonna let me. So yeah, same here, Martin.
That is the Corsair that Martin gave me in Holland.
Oh, right.
Hey, there we go.
He's very kind.
He says, yeah, same here, Martin. YouTube helped me a lot when I picked the hobby up in 2022. Once you weed the bad stuff out. He's obviously seen my channel then in that case. Nice that you're back. But yeah, no, that's cool. So one thing I wanted to ask you, I mean, we sort of we're on task at the moment, but we're wavering a little bit. But as builders and storytellers' perspective, right? So when you're making a build, and I know, Gary, you're going to think to yourself, well, this doesn't really apply to me, but it really does. But I'm going to ask Martin first, just to give you a moment to think about it. How do you make sure, but midway through your build, or when you're going through your build, that your build is because it goes through changes and bits and pieces, but how do you control that element so it serves the overall vision that you had at the beginning of your build?
Right. I try, as the build is going, I'll try and assess it and make sure that I'm covering really three things, like the technical execution of it. Is it going as I plan it to? Are all the parts in place that need to be? Is it looking realistic? Is it looking believable? I look at the storytelling clarity, because what I want to make sure doesn't happen as I progress with the build, and you make mid-course changes and you change things, you fix things. Have I lost any of the focus of that story? Is the story still as strong as it was when I started? And is it still kind of the vision that I had? Because if it's not, then I've done something wrong. So whatever changes I make, it mustn't affect that, because the storytelling to me is the key thing. And then I suppose you could call it like emotional tone. You want to make sure that you're you're evoking the feelings that you wanted to when you first started this project. When someone looks at your Akagi scene, they feel what you want them to feel. That's still strong. To me, if those three things are still working, then I'm still on track.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Because
so with that, when you make those adjustments within the build,
mm-hmm.
And make those pivots, is there ever a time where you pivoted and gone, oh no, I've gone wrong, and go back, or yeah,
there has been, and there's been also getting feedback from other people is vital, because I find that I do build pretty quickly. That's not a Harry I did recently. I did in 4 days, but
you did, yeah.
So it's difficult, because if I spend too long on a project, I can't see it objectively anymore. It's really hard.
Okay, yeah.
Because I'm seeing it all the time. I'm seeing it every day, and I can't look at it with someone else's eyes. So feedback to me is absolutely vital at that point. And a recent diorama that I did called Wasted Lives, and it had a Russian tank coming over rubble in Berlin, and it had a little German boy with a Panzerfaust. Now, I had done this so long, I figured something didn't quite feel right, but I couldn't see it anymore until a friend, Jake McKee, said to me, he needs to look more like a boy, and the situation needs to look more hopeless. And I replaced the figure completely, which is a huge change, like the 11th hour. But I changed it to a little Hitler Youth boy in shorts with a helmet that was like a bucket. It was so big.
Yeah.
Throwing up a salute to make it even more hopeless. And I couldn't because I'd looked at the thing so long. So constantly getting feedback is a really good thing. And the fact that you're doing these round tables, I think that's covers that area. That really helps, I think.
Yeah, it definitely does. And it certainly is for me on this particular project. It has made me slow down a little bit in some respects, and certainly like with the stairs thing, I did that and I looked at it and went, no one's going to see it. It doesn't matter. I've done it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I was so devastated that I found the stair. I don't know why I didn't even think about it. I know the damn thing's got stairs on the outside, but if I'd looked at the kit, it would have been so simple. It was so simple to duplicate that idea in such a simple way, and I've wasted a bit of plastic. But I've tried a different method and gone, no, that didn't work. Didn't like that.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad thing. And even with the interior that I've done at the moment, there is an element of me that's like, I might change it.
Yeah.
But I've already changed it once, but that's fine. Not a problem.
There's an old saying by Nelson Mandela, either I win or I learn. And I try and remember that when I'm building. If something doesn't work out, I've learned from it, and I can use that knowledge to go forward.
And I think that's a really important sentiment as well. Is that reflecting on what you're saying, Gary, about showing what problems you had in the build and all that sort of stuff, and people watching you and your honesty that comes across in your YouTube channel. People reflect on that really well because they're avoiding those mistakes. And like figure painting is a classic example where people go, oh, I can't do figures because my eyes are always pointing in 2 different directions. You can, because you painted it. Yeah, the eyes are pointing in 2 different directions, but you did paint it. But you've learned that wasn't the way to do it. There must be another method in which you could find. Don't run away from it. Just go, oh, okay, that didn't work. What can I do? And I think, again, reflecting on the comment that you've made today, Gary, and other people have made me in the last couple of weeks of, I haven't got patience for that. I couldn't do that. Yeah, you could. You're already doing stuff that you didn't think you had patience to do right now, but you just didn't think you didn't have the patience to do it. So how about yourself, Gary, in reflecting on what Martin's just said? Sorry.
It's okay. I don't tend to have too much time in order to that allows me to swap midstream into anything, because again, I've got a big time pressure, and also because the subjects I choose, generally speaking, are a lot simpler to do. You know, old Airfix kits or even newer Airfix kits. Most of them are not that complex that I do, because it's you know, the bulk of the market probably is what I'm aiming for, really.
Yeah.
Sometimes I try and sort of set out in my own mind when I start what my intent is, whether it's, if it's an old kit, am I going to try and improve it in any way? Am I going to add bits to it? Am I going to, I don't know, make the instrument panel look better? If there's no decal for it, it's just a black panel. Am I going to try and do some instruments on it? If I am, how am I going to spend hours on it, or am I going to do something that's smoke and mirrors, because I'm going to be looking at it through 60-year-old transparent plastic that's really thick? Do I need to make it that?
Yeah.
Or a lot of my painting is very much smoke and mirrors and distant intent. The intent is to look at these things at distance. My figure painting dates back to when I used to do tabletop wargaming, and I'm standing 2 or 3 feet away from my regiment of British Guards figures in 18mm. I don't need to see the whites of their eyes, because A, I'm not going to paint them, and B, they wouldn't see them. You know, you can't see them from that distance anyway. Getting now into like 1/35th and scales like that, I'm beginning to think, oh boy, I need to learn a bit more about figure painting. I really do need to start practicing a bit. But that's good. Very rare that I change in midstream the intent of the original thing. If it's an old vintage classics kit, I'll look at how to maybe make the figures look a bit better. If you can see them clearly, like there's a gunner in an open top turret or something, I'll worry about making sure that gunner looks better than it used to.
Yeah.
When it's supplied with the kit, I'll drill bits out or scrape bits out. I won't spend all day on it, but it's just like, this is a quick and easy way to just raise that level of detail. You know, the only time I've actually changed fairly completely, I was doing a 1/600th scale ship, HMS Devonshire, County Class Destroyer. I had loads of photo etch for it, and I had loads of 3D printed stuff for it, which was great. But I thought, I'll put it in a water diorama. I've never made a sea diorama base before. And the video became a lot more about how to do the sea, because to me, almost the kit making became a bit like an automated, you do this, you do this, you do this, you spray it grey, you spray that green, you do this. And now let's start on the fun part. Yeah. Which kind of wasn't very respectful to the original kit or to the superb extras. But I got really excited about learning how to do a sea diorama and a relatively simple way of doing it that looks reasonably effective. And that's what it became. Since then, if I've put stuff on dioramas, it's for my own joy. And they're done really simply. They're landscapes. They're not like I did the SAM 2 missile this week. I put it in a desert setting with a bit of road and a bit of concrete patch. But that all took a day to paint up. It's again, smoke and mirrors. Lots of smoke and mirrors everywhere. Lots of thinking, if there's a highlight, there's got to be a shadow. Remembering little tricks like that to get that visual sort of look as a crack in concrete isn't just a black line. You've got to think where the highlights are going to be as well, and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Other than that, I try to stick with the plan. But I do set out thinking, right, on this kit, I know I can put a little bit extra in there, and that will make it look like an instrument set. Or this is how I can make the bomb bay look a bit better, or bit more realistic. Not hugely, but just a bit better than the original. But it's when I start out, I tend to stick with it.
Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to pick up on something you said there. I'm just going to mute your mic, Martin, just because I got a bit of feedback. Nothing personal, but if you needed to say anything, or just jump in, or throw something at the screen at me, I'll see the need it unmuted. So you were talking about figure painting. Now, it just so happens that's quite a nice segue to something in which I need to tell people about. So you guys should know about this. I think I've told you both. But what I've actually decided to do as well is, because if we go back over all this roundtable business, you'll remember that we did discuss the amount of figures I might need, and it might be quite a few. So to that aim, what I've actually done is I've created this. So this is, if it comes up, hopefully it will. This is a challenge to you, those that are members of the channel or the Discord group or Models for Heroes or want to support in any way, shape or form. This is called Standing Together. So, and it's the Japanese Navy, Imperial Japanese Navy Figure Challenge. And what that actually means is I'm willing to send you a figure, and I'm going to ask you to fill a form out. If you're accepted, I send you a figure. You don't have to pay for anything. I send it to you and I ask you to paint it and you send it back to me. That's the only provision with it all, is that you paint it and send it back to me. Mm-hmm. Now, part of that challenge is the fact that I have a Discord group, obviously, which is a Sprue Station Discord group. And I'm hoping to arrange a little bit of tuition. If we can arrange that, that'd be good, to help you do the figures. I certainly looking at doing a couple of hangouts, maybe where we sit and paint the figures together and we talk about how I'm doing stuff, or how someone else is doing it or whatever. And we all sort of learn from each other. And then the joy of this is that figure in which you send back to me will go on the diorama somewhere. And that way you then become part of this project as well. Now, the whole reason for this project was to say thank you to the volunteers and beneficiaries of Models for Heroes and friends that have supported me through my journey of heart operation and experience and all that sort of stuff. So it just seemed really logical to me to involve you in some form. So if you want to do that, you've got two options right now. At the bottom of the screen there is a very long, boring link in which you could, which will be in the description of this YouTube video as well. Click on that. It's a form that you fill out, and I will get back to you and sort out all the logistical bits and pieces. One of the things within that form that I ask you to do is to sign up to the Discord group. All the links are in that form. And then once you sign up to that, you're giving a special rank to do with this project, which allows you entry into the Discord group, which anyone can join anyway. But part of the Discord group is a paid part. So that's a whole different thing, which we'll go over a different time. But this allows you to come and get involved with that, and hopefully have some tutorial in figure painting as well, if that I manage to pull that off in some form. Obviously, in the top corner there is a QR code now as well. So if you want to scan that QR code and sign up on through the form, you're more than welcome. But like I say, it doesn't really matter where you are in the world. If you are off the UK, then it may need a conversation because postage may become an issue. However, I really want to try and involve as many people as possible as I can, and I don't really care where you are in the world as long as I can afford it, which is obviously a statement and a half. So yeah, so that's the plan. And talking of the figures, I will show you in just 2 seconds. Let me do a little bit of adjustment on here, because now I've got all confused. I just come off that for a second and change my camera. I'll unmute mine. I'm gonna, we talked about this earlier. You're up for that?
Yeah, definitely.
On the spot right away.
I'm in.
Yeah, I know Gary. I know Gary will be in.
Yeah.
Not that I've asked him, but I know he will be.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So what just to show you very, very briefly. So I'm very, very fortunate in the fact that I found these figures online. This is a company called Triumph Models. They're based in China. And this is going to go really, really slowly now, isn't it? Because it can. Bear with me a second while I just change this stupid camera. There we go.
Yeah.
So this is the company. It is literally a resin figure, and this is how it comes packed. It's in a little cube there, and all you do really is you just put your finger on the head there and jiggle it about a bit, and it will come out because it's got supports in there, but it's very, very delicate in that respect. And then obviously when it comes to you've painted it, etc., you just pop it back into this with a bit of wadding of some description and send it back. So I've got all sorts of figures, and fortunately I bought I bought a load, and then spoke to the guys and said, look, this is what I'm doing, put cards on the table, will you be willing to sponsor me in some form? And they said yes. So
Cool.
the figures haven't necessarily cost me. I bought some. I'm not willing for it to be completely free, but they are a sponsor of this project. So thank you very much to the guys there at Triumph Models. They don't have a website, I would have put it up, but there will be a link going up for their bits and pieces, which you'll see in a couple of kit reviews coming up very shortly. So watch out for those. But yeah, thank you very much to those guys. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to obviously this is a long project, so there's not really it's got to be done by January sort of stipulation to it, so don't panic about that. But yeah, if you want to get involved, please fill out the form and get involved, because it'd be really, really cool. So I want to go quickly back to the chat and make sure that I've answered or shown all the bits and pieces. I want to go back to that question. Actually, let's do that question because I will forget otherwise. So Ramsden design, just to refresh your memory, you said what tool that you use that is not the normal thing you see in a hobby store. You got any of those sort of tools, Gary?
No, I don't think so. I think pretty much everything I use you would get in a hobby store. Yeah, I don't think of anything. I can't think of anything unusual I use at all. Very very conventional up here.
Cool. How about yourself, Martin?
I'm pretty much the same. The only thing I can think of is I did a German tank in a late war disc camo some time ago, and I got a hole punch.
Yeah.
And I punched out, like you and your rivets, a million little discs and stuck them on this tank before I sprayed it. That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. I used to not use modeling tools and just get stuff from hardware stores and stuff. Some of which worked, some of which didn't. And it wasn't until I got a quality pair of nippers I realized the difference between those and the ones in Walmart.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Yeah, right tool for the job. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, someone recently asked me about they were setting up their bench and what would be where would they start, sort of thing. And I said to them, my best advice, light cutting mat tools.
Yeah.
In that order.
Yeah.
And then fancy drawers and all the paint racks and all that sort of stuff you want to do, that comes later. Those are really, really important. Make sure you can see what you're seeing, looking at. Make sure you're safe when you're cutting things, and the tool you're using is safe to use. But I've used all sorts of stuff throughout my modeling, and even to the point that in one of those drawers there, I'm not quite sure which one it is because it's not labeled for that particular purpose, but I have got a pair of, could it be in there? I wonder. Let me just check. I'll laugh if it is. No, it's not. So I have got I got a thing about tweezers. I love tweezers. Tweezers are great. But I never bought tweezers. So I actually got a pair of hair pulling tweezers. Was my first set of tweezers, and that was my mum's. And my first set of snippers was a nail cutter, like a nail thing. So yeah, they were my first. Don't use them. They're really not practical. But the point I'm making, there are lots of things around your house that you can use in model making that you don't need necessarily go and buy. A little bit like the hole puncher that I've got from RP Tools. It's they're brilliant, absolutely fantastic. but there are other ways if you want to do it, which are much cheaper. They're an expensive set, and I must say, I've borrowed this set from someone. I'm going to have to buy one to replace it, hit the one I borrowed. So I will end up with a set, but will I use it ever again? I don't know. Maybe. I think I will, but yeah, it's an investment, and if that's the way to look at it. So I sort of hope that answers your question. If anyone watching, if you've got some unusual things that you pick up from hardware stores or equivalent, then let us know in the chat, and I can highlight those by all means. That was quite a fun question. I like that. Again, just quickly going through all these things so I don't miss anything. Dave Skilly is just saying, as a comment in relation to the figure painting, he says, as figures painting, I never paint eyes facing forward. That's a sure way of getting them wrong. Instead, use the figure's eyes either facing or slightly facing on one side or another. Yeah, absolutely. And that's also really important, because I remember you talking about this, Martin, in relation to your build. I can't remember what the build was called, but you had some German prisoners that were walking past some figures, and there were lots of eye contact in that.
Yeah, but because if you're painting the irises in the corner on both eyes, you're going to get them in the right place. They're going to be in the same place. But as soon as you start trying to put them in the middle, they're like football eyes, one home, one away. One looking at you and one looking for you. They're just yeah. So that's
definitely
good advice. Very good advice.
Yeah, very good advice. And look at the way and that's also another way of making sure you get that story element in your build, because if you've got a figure that's looking at something, it doesn't have to be on that build. It can be off the build. But it creates a question. So use that. That's why they've got the figures set that way. Yeah. Dave also says, I would also recommend the AK FAQ books for figure painting techniques, etc. The FAQ books are awesome. There are lots of books out there, and they are very, very good. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to quickly go through the rest here. I think there's a couple more comments I just want to highlight. Some designers saying he's going to contact me in relation to the figure painting challenge. You're more than welcome. Joe is saying we all build to the illusion. What he's basically saying is sometimes I just start a kit without a plan. Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't need to be that complicated. It's only if maybe the kit you bought is important to you in some way, and you want to tell a story with that. Martin says, don't you sometimes just build a kit and once you start building, intent and the idea of how to present it, the piece surely surfaces during the build? Yeah, like Martin just said, you built this tank and you put it on a piece of paper. It doesn't look right. It needs a base. It needs something to help emphasize the object.
It's like staying flexible in the how, but staying loyal to the why. That you can have changes and you can make mid-course changes, like Martin was saying, but as long as your ultimate goal and what you're trying to achieve is still there and is not affected by it, I think that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a couple more questions, but I wanted to just show you a couple more things here in relation to progress. So I've got this amazing book. Let me just pop you out. I'm just gonna do that, and then if I do that, or if I only had a producer that could do all this, it'd be wonderful. Yeah. Right. Okay. So this is a wonderful book. It's a 3D super drawings book of the Akagi, because there is no reference to this particular ship because it sank, and the Japanese didn't. We don't have an awful lot of records of their stuff. Anyway, so hopefully you'll be able to see this. So this, as I think I may have mentioned earlier, is the island underneath the island. So on top here is your flight deck, and you've got the island which we've shown. Now, this is the bit that we've got to scratch build. Now, to give you some sort of idea as to what I'm actually talking about, is I will be building effectively that section. Sort of. Something like that. Okay? But I'm not going any further down than there. I'm not doing all this bit. No. So just this section here. So, as I was saying earlier, I felt really guilty that I didn't have enough progress. So today I've done this. That is 2 decks. So I've made some portholes. I've grooved out my weld lines that will have a little bit of plastic put in them. Very thin bit of plastic that I'll put in, and then I'll melt it. And then what I'll do is I'll push it down and sort of mold it a little bit like that, so it looks like a weld line. But that is that. And then obviously this side here will need to be bent round slightly on both ends. I don't know how I'm going to do that. So that's going to be quite fun. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with that. Now, one of the things I wanted to just say is this is all etched out, these lines, with scribers, of which I have this amazing set from this company. And what I've done is, again, these guys at I'm butchered this name, I'm so sorry, but Bukasa have sponsored me with this as well. So I bought a set, and then they were so impressed with what I was saying we're going to use it for. They sent another set, which I've just literally raffled, but they're brilliant. So what I've done is I've scribed out everything here. Now, again, rivets, rivets around the portholes. Why? And then rivets up and down the weld lines, etc. So this is the start of the scratch building extraordinaire stuff, because obviously behind this is the wall that goes out to the sea, and then behind it will be the compartments. In the middle will be a compartment in which will just be a box, effectively, which will have, as I plan, a box with a lamp in it, which then from that lamp will have lots of fiber optics come out of and feed any lights that need to be lit up within this section and in the deck as well. So not a lot going on there, but that has taken me literally today, this morning, I've done that. So that I'm really, really chuffed with that. It's come out really, really well. And then obviously the other reason why I wanted to talk about it is we were talking about lights. So here are a couple of options. Why did you do this, James? Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. And I want to ask you guys what you think. So these little lights here, obviously this is the wall light we were talking about earlier, which if you put it next to a figure, all right, hang on, let's move this over a little bit more. If I put it next to a figure, I don't know if that wall light looks a bit too big, but maybe not. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. I'm going to go with it. But these little things here, which is actually I need, talking about tweezers and how much I love tweezers. So these little things here, right? Was there a hole in the back? No, there wasn't. Right, cool. So as you can see, which I hope that was going to white out so much. I'm so sorry. But that is the ceiling light that's going to go in the hanger deck. Right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a little hole in the back here and pop the fiber optic in there to give me some light if I need to. Now, obviously, on the lower deck, the last hanger deck, that's where that's going to happen. So you're going to have fiber optics tucked into this. Going to be a mammoth task, but I think it'll be okay. So that will solve that problem. But in the second hanger deck, then that's all to do with OSL painting, etc. And I think it'll work, right? So it's quite delicate, quite ornate. Or do I go for just the old-fashioned one like that? What do you think? Gary, what's your thoughts?
I'd go for the more ornate one. Just
And
as
mine,
more visual interest as well, I think.
how about yourself, Martin?
See, I'd go the other way. I'd go for the simple. I'm just trying to imagine how it would look with a light in it. I think
It's
it would look
difficult
more
to
like-
know.
Yeah, until you see it.
Yeah. The problem is obviously these lampshades, for want of a better phrase. Obviously, this is all one molded part.
Yeah.
But obviously, the inside needs to be white, so I've got to paint inside that, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
An airbrush will achieve it, but it'll be interesting. And then obviously on the back, it's going to be a dark color, which will help that light. But until I get the lights in it, I don't know how effective they're going to be, and I don't know how they're going to work. But
I think the simple one matches the wall one. That's why another reason I'd.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I don't know. Luckily, the wonderful sheriff has printed a load of these, a load of those, and about 3 other designs, I think, off the top of my head. But because I couldn't make my mind up. But yeah, the joys of 3D printed is great. But yeah, this is a really good example, actually, of one of the. Actually,
That's
while
very
it's there,
bigger. There's lots of detail there.
God, do you know what? These figures are awesome. They really are. And I'm not saying that because they're sponsoring anything. I really am not. I bought these figures genuinely. I bought 30 figures in one go, not knowing anything about them. And I'm just so utterly impressed at the detail. And one of the big things, obviously, is this is a Japanese figure, right?
Yeah.
So the Japanese were quite slender and not very tall. So this is the only Japanese figure that I've found that isn't a Western type figure.
Yeah.
So they're very, very different, and they're just beautiful,
isn't it? It's a Chinese company. Yeah.
Yeah. Just absolutely beautiful, and I can't recommend them enough. I've actually got. They were very kind. They sent me some figures, about a dozen figures, I think they sent me. And they also sent me one of the kits that they do, and there is a kit review coming up. I won't tell you anything more than that, but oh my God, it is awesome. And even to the point, it's not my thing. It's not my scale, but it most definitely is like, oh, I just want to build one, really do. But yeah, that's to come. So let me just bring us back to there. Let's see if I'm up to date with everything in the chat. Dave says that his first set of sprue cutters was his dad's thumbnail. Fair enough. Martin has said it seems to be that the all-night light is easier to attach to a fiber optic into. Yeah, I think so, possibly. The thing is with a fiber optic is that so maybe more than likely you've not had the stupidity to involve yourself with fiber optics, but what little I've learned about them is that if you have a fiber optic, if you paint the outside, it gives you effectively a spotlight. Not overly powerful, but it will give you a pinprick sort of light. If you melt the end of that fiber optic, it then creates a more diffused look to the light. So, for example, if you've got a sci-fi instrument panel that you want to put different colors on your instrument panel that light up, you can achieve that with fiber optics really, really easy, and it's not as scary as you might think. In this scenario, it's going to be quite interesting to see how it works and whether it works. I think with a wall light, it's going to work fine. It's not going to give a massive amount of light, but because it's put into clear resin, I think that will help diffuse the light and it should work fine. In the fittings, I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we'll see. But yeah, thank you for that, Martin. You and you guys as well. Your thoughts are really useful as always. So we've been busy chatting away for over an hour and a half, would you believe? Or just come up to an hour and a half. Just goes by so quick, right?
It does.
So let's have a little bit of a roundup. I don't know where I was with the questions. I'm pretty certain I've covered pretty much what I wanted to. As always, I think maybe the best thing is at this point, so midway through it's not anywhere near midway, but in the middle of your build, is there one bit of advice that you would give to people that might be watching about how they should use that moment in their own projects? Who wants to answer that first? I go with Gary then.
Yeah, I don't know. I think just stick with, just reassess if you like. If you're not enjoying it, then reassess what you're up to and what you're doing. If you're enjoying it, just keep going with what you're doing. But if you're not enjoying it, ask yourself why you're not enjoying it, and see if there's an alternative thing you can do, whether it's something additional or a different direction, or just go a bit off piste with something. But the bottom line is this is supposed to be enjoyable. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
You are supposed to enjoy it, and it is supposed to help your mental health. And if it's not, then just question yourself, why am I not enjoying this? And is there something I can do to make it more fun? But if you're still if you're enjoying it halfway through and you're enjoying it and thinking, do you know what, I'm really happy with this, and you just crack on with that and winner chicken dinner, absolutely no problem.
How about yourself, Martin?
I'd say just trust what's already working. Don't panic and overthink it. And I would say getting some feedback as well. If you feel like you're hitting a wall, get some other eyes to look at it. Get some other, and I'd say once you get to the midpoint, stick to your original goal, stick to your original vision. Don't try and completely change direction. Just have a little faith in your original idea. Stick with that. And just keep plugging away. And like I said, if you need more input, that's super helpful. It helped me.
If you've got a good local model club, that can be brilliant.
Yeah.
That's helped me so much on a lot of occasions. The one I belong to got Harrow. It's very easy going, but there's guys there with masses of experience, bit in lighting, being in scratch building, whatever, and to chat with them. And show stuff to them if you want, but also to chat with them, and you pick up ideas, or you get confirmation that your direction is the right way to do it, or whatever. As you say, you're absolutely right, Martin. Getting that second opinion, as it were, can really, really help something, really make a difference.
You said Harrow there. Harrow, just north of London, Harrow.
Yeah. Northwest London, yeah.
I used to go to Harrow Skate Park growing up.
Oh, right, okay.
I know the area really well.
Wow. Yeah, I live like 10 minutes away from Harrow on the Hill, as it were, the school.
As always, just shows what a small world we live in.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So yeah, I totally agree with everything you said. And I would emphasize massively fresh pair of eyes. Another opinion is always really, really important. And by that, don't be afraid to take criticism. Your people and friends will criticize you, but they won't do it to hurt you. They're there to help. So being part of a group or a club or a hangout or whatever is always vitally important, for not just feedback, but for supporting each other and enjoying the hobby. It is really, really important. But guys, thank you so much. An hour and a half of your time, valuable time, actually, is always appreciated. And I feel it's only fair to ask you both. If I start with Martin, is there any questions you've got for me, maybe?
No. Well, how do you feel it's going? I mean, are you confident that it's headed the right direction and there's light at the end of the tunnel? It's not an onrushing train anymore.
I think as a Spitfire, it'll be fine. I'm really happy with it. There is, like I said to you before, because there's so many different elements to film with. The hardest part for me right now, at this point, this juncture, is what do I do next? How do I go forward? I mean, I've done that side of the first hanger island. Let's call it Hangar Island. I'm not sure if that's the right height. I haven't got a clue. I've measured everything. I think I've done it right. But until I stick an aircraft in there, I can't really say it's going to be correct or not. I might stupidly find it's not high enough, which would be a worry. So I need really to build a plane before I go too far ahead. So yeah, there's a lot of that. The good thing is that the island, what's above, I know what it's going to be like, so that's not a problem. And the interior detail in that is enough to keep my juices going and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's going roughly where I want it to be. I still have no idea how long it's going to take me, because the more complex the idea becomes as I go along, which I knew would happen anyway. But yeah. So luckily I didn't say next year at Telford or Europe I'll be showing off what I have no idea how long it'll take. And again, with the figures, with you guys helping me, trust me, you're helping by meaning I've got one more figure I don't have to paint, but much more importantly, I can then slow that process up because I want to involve other people with a bit of hangouts here and this, that, and the other. So that extends that a little bit more as well. So it's even more value for money for me. So that's cool. Gary, have you got a question for me? Maybe
not that I can think of at the moment, mate. I'm just in awe of the vision of what you've got there is amazing. I'm also quite conscious of the fact we're going to be in an Airbnb for 3 nights in Telford together fairly soon with 4 other model makers. So I think I'll maybe keep the questions for that over a nice glass of red or something healthy like that.
That sounds much better idea. Yeah, I can see now. I'm going to set myself up. I'm going to sit there on a drunken night and talking about it and go, "Oh, that's a great idea, Gary. I can do that." Damn it!
I'm going to talk you into such a corner over so many different things, mate.
Yeah, I'm sure. Thank you so much. Just quickly look at the chat. I know there's something's just jumped up. Dave is saying,
"Oh, excuse me. I've probably got to go and handle cooking dinner."
But no, that's cool.
That's right.
Gary, thanks so much for being with us.
Martin.
Good to see you,
and
Gary.
I'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah.
And I'll be good. Ta-ra.
Cheers. Thanks very much, guys. Cheers.
No worries, buddy. So just very quickly before I wrap up, Dave is just saying that the middle of a project tends to be the shit phase, a trough in morale curve, and everything's rough sketch. I'm totally reliant on an image in my mind as I'm expected as the end goal. So yeah. Don't let it get. Don't let the project overwhelm you, because at the end of the day, that's not what it's about. It should be an enjoyable journey all the way through. And remember also, more importantly, that your initial vision probably will never be the end vision. It'll always be adjustments as you go along, because you'll find something in which you could tweak, very, very small or large. So don't worry too much. Anyway, enough of my waffling. As I said, that's an hour and a half. Thank you very much for everybody that's watched this time round. We have got 2 more roundtables coming up. Now, in theory, they should be in November. However, I may well be postponing them till the new year. And the reason for that is that I'm glad to announce that I have got some other sort of roundtables coming up, which is about health, which I think is really, really important to get across during this process. And that will become a lot more understandable in the coming weeks. So watch out for the updates as to when the next roundtable will be. Watch out and make sure you tune in for the health. We're going to do heart health and mental health and a couple other bits of health as well. I've got some special guests all lined up. They're all gagging to get on and have a chat about it. Not only are we going to talk about the health side, but we're also going to give you some takeaways from that as well. So ways in which that might help you if you come across these health issues, or maybe you've got these health issues, which is going to be a right fascinating half an hour or an hour show. So stay tuned for that. Martin, thank you as always for being such a integral part of this project. And I will see you all very, very soon. Take care for now. Ta-ra!
Bye.